It is time to connect to Congress, the segment where we talk directly to Washington lawmakers who represent us here in the San Joaquin Valley. And right now we're talking to Democratic Representative of California's 21st Congressional District, Jim Costa, live from Washington, D.C. Good morning, Congressman. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Jim. It's always great to be on Great Day.
Well, we appreciate you making the time. I want to ask you about this. The California insurance market, as you know, is crazy right now. Home insurers are pulling out, car insurance rates through the roof. Is there anything that can be done that could help consumers?
Well, we have introduced legislation that we think would try to provide some relief to both homeowners as well as people who have insurance on their cars. But the responsibility among the 50 states for insurance is really the dominance of state legislatures, and that's why we have a Secretary of Insurance, a commissioner that is in charge of regulating the insurance industry in California. Gavin Newsom in the last week has acted on legislation to try to provide some relief, but it's a real problem. I think we have homeowners throughout California who have complained to me, and certainly car owners, about the inability of getting insurance. And clearly there needs to be a response at the state level, and if we can help out on the federal level, we must do so.
I also wanted to ask you about, we did an investigation, our own Liz Gonzalez did, and it showed that Facebook has no way really for consumers to contact anyone to talk about serious issues. Is there anything that can be done about social media companies in general at a federal level so that there's more accountability?
There needs to be more accountability. We've tried to wrestle with a framework for the social media giants that not only have so much say in determining what information the American public gets, but they also the ability to try to make sure that they're being responsible and that they're being factual. TikTok is an example. There are others. 170 million subscriptions in this country. 14% of Americans polled 2 months ago said that was their primary source of information. And among teenagers and people in their 20s, the number's even higher. Yet it's a totally owned subsidiary of the Communist Party of China. You think about the algorithms and their ability to intrude into our personal privacy and finance and health. It's very alarming, and frankly, we need to do a better job of providing these incredible media networks the impact that they have on the information Americans receive.
Yesterday, President Biden signed an executive order shutting down the border once the daily encounters stopped 2,500. Do you think that's a step in the right direction?
Yes, I do, and I was at the press conference, and it's been very frustrating for those of us who believe that we need to have a more secure border. And I thought we had bipartisan effort taking place last year when Senator Langford and Senator Murphy put together the most comprehensive border security package that we've seen in 2 decades, only to find the former President Trump saying, no, don't move on this because I want to keep the border as an issue for the campaign in November of this year. That's completely irresponsible. And then once again, 2 weeks ago, the Senate tried to revive that package between that comprehensive border security package, and the Senate was unable to bring it up. So clearly there's hypocrisy and unwillingness to act on this issue, which is why the President issued his executive order. He said in doing so yesterday that he would much prefer to work on legislation because legislation has more meaning and it will be more able to withstand any court challenges that undoubtedly will come up as they did with the previous administration. We need to fix our broken immigration system. We need to secure our border. We need to provide additional support with unemployment at an all-time low for jobs. So in the agricultural economy in our valley, we need more qualified labor. For construction, we need more people that are willing to do these jobs. And we have a labor shortage. And so there's a lot that needs to be done here, and to let the politics of this year determine whether or not we're going to take bipartisan action or not is very unfortunate when we came so close to reaching an agreement here several months ago.
And we only have a little time here, but I wanted to ask you about, you've secured funding for the BFS Dam and other valley water projects. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we are not only doing the seismic retrofit on the BF6 dam there at San Luis Reservoir, but we hope to raise it an additional 10 feet, which will provide 130,000 acre feet of additional storage. We also are looking at expanding storage on Los Vasqueros, on Don Pareto, and the Sites Reservoir that could potentially hold over 1.5 million acre feet of water. We've seen last year a record rainfall year in snowpack, and this year above average, that we need to have additional storage capability and ability to recharge our groundwater at the same time. The investments that I've been able to work on over the last couple of years with the Biden administration, the bipartisan infrastructure package, amounts to a total of almost $1 billion investing in our water infrastructure. But we must continue to work on it. We have more work to do.
All right, Congressman Jim Costa, thank you for joining us this morning, and great day. We'll be right back.